Sri Lanka voted for a new parliament today. It is the first South Asian country to go to polls during the pandemic. The election could change the political dynamics of this island country. Why do I say so? Well, you'll find out in the next 5 minutes. First of all, allow me to break down these elections in the simplest way possible. I will start with a crash course on Lankan politics, if you will. Politics as it stands right now. And if I were to explain this election in one sentence, it would be this. It is all about the president's brother looking for a two-third majority in the Lankan parliament. That's what this election is about. Who is the president? Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Who is his brother? Mahinda Rajapaksa. Gotabaya became president and made his brother prime minister. This was in November 2019, but there was a problem. The Rajapaksas did not have absolute majority in parliament. Why do you need absolute majority? They wanted sweeping changes. They wanted to change the Lankan constitution. They did not have the numbers to do that. You need two-thirds support to change the constitution. The Rajapaksas did not have it. So in March this year, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, the president, used his presidential powers to dissolve the parliament. He called for snap polls. Then came the pandemic. The election had to be postponed, not once but twice. And today the Lankans finally had the chance to cast their vote and elect a new parliament. How many people showed up at the polling booth? Quite a lot. Sri Lanka recorded a 70% voter turnout. During the last parliamentary polls, the numbers were 77.6%. So this is quite a feat, keeping in mind the Wuhan virus pandemic, 70% turnout. Anyway, now that you have a fair idea of the elections and what they were about, let me tell you about the key players. Gotabaya Rajapaksa's party was a clear winner even before the polling booths opened, because there is no compelling opposition. The parties contesting against them are fractured. There is the United National Party led by former Prime Minister Wickramasinghe, its breakaway group, the SJN led by Sajith Premadasa. There are smaller parties like the Tamil National Alliance and the NPP. In all, 7,452 candidates from 54 political parties contested for 225 seats in the Lankan parliament. The question now is not who wins this election. The question is by how much. Will Gotabaya Rajapaksa get a two-thirds majority in parliament? Experts say it's difficult. Despite a long campaign period, the political parties, remember, had 4 months to prepare for this election. What was the big pitch? The key issue? The Wuhan virus pandemic took a lot of space. Mahinda Rajapaksa's party may have earned brownie points for the government's handling of the Wuhan virus. Sri Lanka has fared much better than its South Asian neighbors. The total number of COVID-19 cases is 2,834 as of this evening. The ruling party, the SLPP, asked voters for a two-thirds majority. It said Sri Lanka needs a strong government. Now, say Mahinda Rajapaksa does end up getting a two-thirds majority, what will it mean for the people of Sri Lanka? I'll give you some points. First of all, it could seal the fate of democracy in this island nation. The Rajapaksas will repeal the 19th Amendment, which reduced the power of the president. This was in 2015. If his party gets absolute majority, it is likely to extend the term of the president. It would also give the president tighter control of the judiciary, meaning a stronger Gotabaya Rajapaksa. The end result could be this. You will have the Rajapaksas controlling the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. This will spell an end to the checks and balances that democracies are based on. Implication number 2. If Mahinda Rajapaksa gets a two-third majority, those seeking justice against war crimes can forget about it. I'll tell you why. The president, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, is a former military leader. He's accused of war crimes during the civil war. His presidential team is full of present and former military leaders. They're all accused of war crimes. If the president controls the judiciary, he gets to elect judges to Lanka's top courts. What are the chances that he will bring military leaders to justice then? Implication number 3, the plight of minorities in Sri Lanka. It is no secret that Sri Lanka is divided along ethnic and religious lines. There are Sinhalese Buddhists and the Tamil minorities, among others. The Buddhists are the vote bank of the Rajapaksa brothers. They are the majority. They support Gotabaya Rajapaksa for his role in crushing the Tamil separatist movement, the LTTE. Gotabaya came to power by promising a more unified Sri Lanka. He has worked in the opposite direction since assuming power. I'll give you one example. This year, the Tamil version of the Lankan national anthem was junked during Independence Day celebrations. So stronger Rajapaksa brothers could isolate the minorities further. And finally, what would all of this mean for India? A lot has been said about the Rajapaksas leaning towards China. Evidence backs this. Many of the Chinese infra projects began when Mahinda Rajapaksa was the president of Sri Lanka. He allowed 2 Chinese submarines to dock in Colombo in 2014. But this is 2020, and here's what I think. Going forward, the Rajapaksa brothers will try to strike a balance between India and China. Remember, India was the first country that Gotabaya visited after his victory in the presidential election last year. He has spoken highly of the Indian leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So the Rajapaksas are not an out-and-out threat to India, not anymore. Let me conclude with this. Mahinda Rajapaksa is winning this election by all estimates, not most, all. By what margin is what we have to see. Is an absolute majority good news for Sri Lanka? I'll tell you the answer by asking another question. Is it safe for democracy to be reduced to a family affair? Those in India should be able to relate with the implications. The results will start coming in tomorrow. Watch this space.